So, to give some context, I, female 35, have been married to my husband, 37, for 6 months. He has 2 children from 2 different uninvolved mothers, and they live with us full-time. The kids are pre-tween and a tween. I work long hours at a demanding job time-wise. My husband thinks that just because I work from home I can pause whenever, but it's untrue. He'd asked me to do things for the kids or him during work hours, but I told him I'm working and unavailable during those hours and that the kids are his responsibility till I'm done. Yesterday, he told me he wanted to attend a friend's engagement dinner and asked if I could take time off work to make the kids dinner. I told him absolutely not and insisted that he cook for them or order takeout. He said he had no time to cook and takeout was off the table since he didn't want them to eat fast food. He later said fine and that he would cook dinner and then go to the party. 2 hours later, the kids came in and said they were hungry. I was puzzled. I asked if their dad cooked them dinner and they said he didn't. Moreover, he told them to come and ask me to cook for them at exactly 7 p.m. I was so angry to find myself in this situation. I took a few minutes off the meeting, ordered takeout from the nearby restaurant, fed the kids, then had them watch TV and then went to sleep. He came home at 11 p.m. and went off on me after he discovered that I didn't cook like he was counting on me to do. Not only that, but he yelled about feeding the kids takeout. I argued back, saying I had no choice after he tricked me into cooking for them knowing I was busy. So I ordered food and ensured the kids were fed while I focused on work. He ranted about how I cared more about work than my stepchildren, God forbid, called me selfish, then went upstairs and refused to talk to me. He's still sulking about it today and says I need to get my priorities in order because they're messed up. Info about that friend's engagement. My husband has this friend from college. They're close and he couldn't miss the event. Moreover, he said he was upset with me for missing the event and now refusing to cook a healthy homemade meal and order takeout, knowing it's a no-go for him. So, am I the idiot for not making some time to cook for the kids? Not the idiot. Well, I think we can figure out why the moms of these children aren't involved. I can tell you from this point it's going to get a lot worse. Honestly, I would immediately file for divorce before he tries to take all your assets. He only values you for what you can do for him. I'm sorry, but this isn't a relationship. Agree. His priorities are the kids before a party. Did he marry you to have a mom for the kids? He skirts responsibility of the kids to you so he could go to a party. I tell him to sulk all you want. You didn't want them to eat fast food, and you didn't prioritize their meals instead of going to a party. Better yet, staying home and taking care of them is the priority. You're not the one who messed up. Don't allow him to manipulate you and have you believe you did wrong. Baby mama left him for a reason. Everyone's the idiot here. Why did you marry this loser? Surely you knew what the situation was going to be. You talk about his kids, but come on, they live with him full-time and a pre-teen. Did you think you could just ignore their existence while moving in and marrying their father? You both need to get on the same page for the children's sake. You can't marry a man with kids and no mom and act completely separate. This seems like a bad match. He wants a mom for the kids. You don't want to be a mom. So everyone loses, especially the kids. But your husband is right. You seem to care more about work than anything else. And what the heck do you do that you're still in active meetings at 7 p.m.? She is at work. Just because she's at home doesn't make her less at work. Bail out now. This man does not respect your needs, feelings, or boundaries. This relationship will consume you to the point where you no longer have a sense of self. Everything will be about his and the kids' needs. This will only get worse. Save yourself and leave. File for divorce and move on to a happier existence. Sorry, hun. My male wife, female Sonia, is a stay-at-home mom of our 2 children, a young male and a female. I try to help with the kids when I get home. I know being a stay-at-home mom is tiring even though she has part-time off from school, but helping with homework, making food and taking care of kids can be exhausting. So when I get home, I make dinner, wash the dishes and stay with our children for a while so she can have her moment too. These weeks have been pretty exhausting. It's a very important month professionally. In November will be the delivery of a 6-month project that my team and I are idealizing. Last week was the final touches and review of the entire project, so I went to work at 8 a.m, got home at 5 p.m, took care of my kids until 9 p.m, and was actually working until 3 or 4 a.m. to get maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep. I have trouble sleeping, so it was a lot if I slept 12 hours in 5 days. I was exhausted. I wasn't even driving because I didn't trust my senses to drive. I couldn't vent to Sonia because she was stressed too. Our children had the flu. I was dragged to the hospital by my co-workers after nearly passing out for only walking. The doctor demanded that I take a week's medical leave because I was already on the verge of burnout. When I got home, I spoke to my wife, who seemed to understand. I asked her to give me a day off from everything, as I would try to get as much sleep as possible that night to come back better. She said fine. I also offered to give her a day off because I knew she was tired too. So I went to sleep at 9 p.m. and woke up to Sonia nudging me to take the kids to school. I walked them to school. I talked about what we talked about yesterday, and she said, "Yeah, but that's your part of the morning and I have other morning plans. Yoga class, gym, and house cleaning." I asked her 3 more times to do this for me as I was still exhausted, 6:30 a.m., but she just said, "You're still a father, tired or not." It could have been the tired or not bit, but I ended up losing my mind and screaming, "I just need a few hours of sleep. Please respect what I asked of you yesterday and let me sleep, man." She was in shock and said, "Okay then." So she took the kids and I slept until 4 p.m. There were several messages from her saying that I shouldn't have yelled at her for asking me to take responsibility as a parent and that it was toxic behavior of mine. Well, we haven't talked much more than necessary for 2 days. Am I the idiot? Given the context, not the idiot. A doctor ordered you to rest. Your wife agreed to help you. If roles were reversed and you took time off work to step in for your wife, you would be the idiot for waking her up. She didn't respect your valid medical need to rest. Your doctor ordered a week of medical leave to rest. This right here. Also, it appears that the wife gets a 2-hour break every day for yoga and gym. When does OP get his 2 hours per day break? A good, loving wife wouldn't be trying to argue fairness when you're sick from exhaustion. She needs a wake-up call about her entitlement. So let me get this straight. You take the kids to school and they're in school until what, 3? She watches them for 2 hours, then you take over, and otherwise she does the cooking and the housework? Yeah, cooking and housework are a lot, but come on, that's not a fair division of labour. It sounds like she has unfair expectations of you. You were literally sick and she wanted to do yoga. Couldn't she change up her routine a bit after you got out of the hospital for exhaustion to let you sleep? Yeah, you're not the toxic one here. My 26 female wedding is in 3 months. Both of my sisters, Sadie 29, Olivia 20, are in my wedding party. My wedding will be elegant and big, as the groom and I have a lot of friends and family and we've always dreamt of an extravagant wedding. I have a good relationship with both sisters. However, my younger sister Olivia has made the process a bit difficult as a bridesmaid. I chose a light dusty pink for the colour of the bridesmaids' dresses and let the girls pick what style they wanted. Immediately, Olivia said she will feel insecure as she's so pale and the dress will make her look red. I suggested a spray tan, as the colour of the dresses has already been set in stone to match the rest of my wedding, but she said absolutely not. Fair. I didn't hear anything else about the dresses, but now I'm in a predicament with her again and I'm not sure if I've made a mistake by making such a big deal of this. Olivia regularly highlighted her dark brown hair with blonde for years, but decided about a year ago to grow it out and let it get healthy, meaning no dye. A month or so in, her hair didn't look terrible, more like a balayage, but now we're around the year mark and her roots are straight up brown, and there's a straight line, no blending of blonde for the last 8 inches of her hair. Olivia has insisted she has her hair down during the wedding. However, I don't want her roots and hair on full display during pictures, the ceremony and throughout the night. I love my sister and respect what she wants to do with her hair. However, her hair is an eyesore, and I've never seen anyone let their hair look like this for this long. I told her I would pay for anything she wanted to be done to it, as long as her roots were at least a bit blended for the wedding. She says she doesn't want to put any more chemicals on it and is leaving it, and I won't change her mind. I told my hairdresser about Olivia's point of view. We go to the same hairdresser, and she told me that there are plenty of things she can do for her that can make her hair look blended and still be healthy. Unfortunately, Olivia still refuses, despite my offer to pay and our hairdresser saying she could make subtle changes and preserve her hair. I should add that her hair is not breaking or fried. She wanted a break from dyeing it to get it as healthy as she could and grow it. This day is one of the most important in my life, and having someone in my wedding party with unkept roots is something I don't want. I'm not asking her to cut or change the colour, just blend and transition the colours. She's irritated because my other sister and mother have told her that she should change it for the sake of not ruining pictures. Am I the idiot here? You are the idiot. Nobody cares about this except you. The guests don't care if a bridesmaid has two-toned hair. the wedding pictures will end up in an album that sits out and gets glanced through every couple of years, maybe, or hanging in dusty frames in various family homes. If it's a big wedding, by your 10th anniversary, you won't even remember the names of all your guests or why they were invited. Enjoy your extravagant wedding, but don't be the bride who tries to change the way her friends and family look to make them better for pictures. That behavior is far worse than the sight of anyone's roots. Look, OP, to be completely honest, if your wedding pictures are the most important thing in your life, to the point where someone else's hair color is going to bother you enough to fight about it, you really need to evaluate your life priorities. It simply, truly does not matter that much. Well, you will get called a bridezilla big time on here, but with a sigh, I'm going to say no, idiots here. You are having a formal wedding and want nice pictures. It's not her wedding, but it is her hair, and she doesn't want to change it. And you are siblings and don't want to give in to each other. If I were her, I would just wear it up. But in my opinion, she's not going to accommodate you in any way, so act accordingly. There's always Photoshop, but just for the couple's pictures. In a few years, Olivia can look back on her copy pictures and realize how bad her hair looks and how selfish she is. And before everyone attacks me, I usually am very anti-bridezilla, but for my sister, I would make a sacrifice of using a temporary dye or putting my hair up. I, 39 male, had a one-night stand in college and the girl, who we'll call Jade, got pregnant. I agreed to pay child support, but that was all. This arrangement has worked for 18 years and I never liked the idea of having kids anyway, so I don't mind that my son, Marty, 18, and I have no contact. Jade never got a boyfriend or anything after she had Marty, so she's been doing a pretty good job all by herself. We're still friends and I've only spoken to Marty a few times. Marty, having recently graduated high school, wants to get into college. His tuition is expensive though. As a single parent, Jade can't afford it and won't fund it because of that. Marty got my number from Jade and asked if I would help pay for his tuition. He made a point saying that I have a well-paying job, he was my only son, and I'd never been there for him as a dad, so I should at least pay his tuition. I refused because, first off, I've paid Jade child support and extra money on the side for his entire life, and second, I never wanted kids to begin with, so child support was the condition I took not to have to care for one directly. He said that it was selfish of me to pretend like I didn't have an obligation to him, and I told him I did have a responsibility, which was to pay for him until he was an adult. He protested, saying that I never gave him anything. This just isn't true. I made sure Jade had the money to care for him and gave him gifts through Jade on occasion. Jade and I have been content with this arrangement for years, and she does a great job being a parent. I funded a whole lot of my son's life, and I basically paid for everything Jade couldn't, like extracurriculars and sometimes even bills and groceries if she was in a bad spot. Jade agrees that Marty is being unreasonable in this demand, and she's thankful that I was there to support them both. She told Marty he had other options and tuition would hurt my finances too. His tuition is tens of thousands of dollars, and I get paid more than average, but not enough to afford that. He's angry at Jade for taking my side, saying I'm an unsupportive bum and that I've done nothing for him in the long run. But that's just not true. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot for not paying tuition. It sounds like you fulfilled the obligations set by you and Jade. But don't pretend you don't deserve to be called an unsupportive bum by your son. It absolutely sounds like the truth given what you've written. You gave Jade the monetary support, not your kid. Yes, it was used for your son's needs, but since kids aren't supposed to be involved in the money issues between parents, you'll have to tell me what you've done for your son so that he could consider direct support from you. It seems like you did the bare minimum but nothing more. I'm not sure you deserve the credit you want for your role. I'm going to disagree with you here. My dad got my mom pregnant in high school and ran away from her, disappearing forever. Not a dime for child support, no gifts, nothing at all. She worked her butt off to support me, but it was rough. If he'd helped financially, that would have been a massive blessing. So OP has done more than many dads do with their kids they don't want. He's been supportive. He doesn't deserve to be called a bum. The kid just doesn't understand this. Also, so many people can't afford college. So you either take out loans, get scholarships, work to pay for it, or figure out life without college. Okay, to start off with, if you never wanted kids, you should have covered it up. Pregnancies need two people to be involved. I think you should at least work with him and offer to pay half and have him work, and with Jade's help, hopefully he'll be able to go to uni. Saying no from the get-go is putting him behind before he even starts. Since you have no other kids, You really should get in and help put him through uni. So I have 4 children, 2 from my previous marriage and 2 from my current marriage. My first wife passed away when our children were both under 3 years old. Before we had our children, she and I made a promise to each deposit $350 into their account every month for their education. After she passed, I felt it was my job to fulfill her part of our promise. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford to deposit $700 each, so I lowered the amount to $450 each. I also do the same for my 2 other children, though the amount is $200. My current wife had no problem with the amount I gave my children and ours. However, when I increased the amount to $550 for my children and $250 for ours, she had a problem with it. She finds it unfair I gave my 2 older children $100 and our 2 young ones just $50. I explained to her why it's $100 more for my 2 oldest. Their mother is no longer alive to fulfill her promise, so I'm doing it for her. It's $50 from me and $50 from her. She still thinks it's unfair and finds it annoying that my dead ex is dictating our finances. She said I should treat all my children equally and give them an equal increase. I explained again that I'm their only parent and they only have me to save up for their future. Our children still have 2 parents to save up for them. I told her she could add the other $50. I also told her that I didn't appreciate her calling her my dead ex. She's not an ex, she's still my wife. I told her that I found it weird that she was so intimidated by someone that's not alive. Then she screamed at me after I told her that. She stormed off and hasn't spoken to me since Friday. I'm having some doubts about my decision now. It might sound fair in my head, but my younger 2 might feel they're being treated unfairly. I might have also gone too far by saying she felt intimidated by my first wife. I was just a little frustrated. So, am I the idiot for giving my oldest 2 more money? Not the idiot. Your wife calling your deceased wife your dead ex is a massive red flag. She probably let it slip out of anger, but nonetheless she clearly has some built-up feelings on the matter that she's held in for a while. I don't know how other financial matters are arranged in your family, but I don't think you're wrong for wanting to pay what your previous wife would have contributed. On the contrary, I think it's very sweet and I find it unfortunate that your current wife doesn't see it that way. In my opinion, you are the idiot. The agreement to contribute to her children each month was appropriate when she was alive. Now that she's not, you took it upon yourself to continue making the monthly payments. Unfortunately, she's not here to contribute herself. Your kids absolutely will not understand why half of them get substantially more money. They will think you only care about your first 2 kids, and your wife is right to be upset. Do it equally or not at all. It'd be one thing if your wife left money behind. That would be appropriate to give to her kids only. But to go out of your way to ensure some of your kids get more of your money is an idiot move.